After years in corporate life, I decided to let go and create something more meaningful. This channel is my journey of exploring passions, building community, and discovering what I want this next chapter to look like. Join me as I figure it out and maybe help you design your next chapter too.
Hi, I'm Penny of the Unretirement Project. I'm 59 years old and recently quit my well-paying corporate job to start a new chapter of life where I find my purpose, I find my passions, and I call all the shots. If you've watched some of my previous videos, you'll know that I was working 60 to 65 hours a week, and it just wasn't sustainable. I decided that I needed to phase into a new chapter of my life. I wasn't ready for retirement yet, but I knew I needed to design a new work life that would fit into my life instead of my life fitting around my work life. Today, I want to talk about setting boundaries because that's such a big thing for me. I have not been good at setting boundaries in the past, and I believe that has led to a little bit of burnout for me. I know many Gen X women will take on work, and we are people pleasers and we want to please everyone, and so we say yes to everything, and in the meantime we are just drowning. It is like being on a hamster wheel. Literally, you are running around this track trying to please everyone, and it feels after a while that everyone is taking advantage of you. Part of it, I'll have to say, at 59 years old, there's a little bit of a generational aspect to it where we were kind of taught that you say yes to everything. That's the way you find success in the workplace. You stay late, you do what the boss asks, even if you're not paid for it, because all of those little extras that you do will pay off in the end. You'll get promotions, you'll get raises, you'll get a great reputation at work. And for me, that was really important, to have a reputation as a hard worker, somebody who's not afraid to take on things. However, on the flip side, it leads to burnout. And I think we're actually doing ourselves a disservice by doing that, because we're not working as long as we could be working, because, I got to a point where I had had enough and it was time to change. So moving into this next phase of my life, I knew that keeping boundaries was going to be one of my top priorities. I knew that as long as I wanted to call the shots, one of the things I needed to do was to maintain boundaries with people. I'm going to share a few incidents that have happened recently, mostly with work, where this has been tested, and I'm happy to say that I am really cognizant. I'm really thinking about keeping boundaries, and I actually kept some boundaries, and it felt a little uncomfortable, but I did it, and afterwards I am so happy that I did that. I've always said that my new work life is going to fit into my life and not the other way around, where I have to schedule my life around my work life and there's not much time. So I knew that one of the most important things to make that happen was to set boundaries with people, to decide exactly when and where I wanted to work and on what I wanted to work on, and not fall into the trap of, oh, I'll just do that this one time, or I will do something I don't really want to do because it may get me a little further, or it may gain some favor with someone. So as you might know, I left my job I guess it was around August. I kind of had a slow disconnect. I worked part-time for a month and then a few hours for the next month. So it was a gradual release. And I decided that I would open my own bookkeeping business. And what I do now is I subcontract for bookkeeping companies and take on some of their clients that they don't have the time to do. So it's a really great option for me. I can log in whenever I want and get the work done as long as I meet the deadline. then I can do the work whenever I want. So that has been a really great option for me getting started. I may take on my own clients eventually. I'm not sure, but for right now, it's working out really well. I have about the number of hours that I want to work. I'm not really interested in working full time, so I like to work in the mornings and then be off, early afternoon to be able to go out and do the things that I want to do. So, flashback to 2 weeks ago, the person that I work for, the company that I work for, asked if I could take on a special project. And it was going to be a very large account. And of course, I was offered more money, kind of commiserate with the account. But I could see very quickly from doing some of the cleanup that it was going to require a lot of time. And it was a large company with a lot of transactions and a lot of accounts. And it was going to be a lot of time, especially around the first week of the month when we're reconciling all of the accounts. And that's already kind of a busy time for me. A lot of our work happens in a shorter period of time. I kind of grappled with it because I felt this was a time when before I would have just taken it on to be a team player and to meet expectations and to make everyone happy. But I thought to myself, well, this is going to be an ongoing commitment for you. And if it's going to change the way that you envision you want your life to be, why are you going to do it? Because that's the whole purpose or the whole reason why you moved in this direction. And so it was a pretty easy no as far as knowing that it didn't fit with my plan. It was a difficult no in that going to actually say that without having to explain myself and feel bad about it, that was the tricky part. So I took some time. I took about a day and thought it through and talked to myself about all of the reasons and the setting the boundaries and why it's so important. And this was such a beginning of a new kind of period of expectation for me, and this was going to set the stage. And I just really needed to do it. And so I did. And afterwards, every day I kind of think about that and go, what a good move that was, because I would just feel so tied down in a way that I don't want to be. I left the high-paying job because I didn't want the stress that came with it, the long hours, the expectations that I would fix everything. Now I'm ready in this time of my life for regular work that I get done. It's interesting to me, and I check off the boxes and I'm finished, and I walk away from it and I don't worry about it. So I just wanted to, for those of you that still struggle to say no, really think about what you're creating, that momentary relief of pleasing people, what that costs you in the end. And it's okay to say no. And I think most of the time, it's really in our mind that people won't like us, accept us, or think good things of us if we don't say yes. I really think, I answered and they came back and said, oh, okay, thanks. And I thought, well, gosh, doesn't sound like they're upset with me, so why did I have such a struggle with that? So think about that the next time you come up. And I am not saying that I am completely cured of people pleasing. I am far away from that. It's going to be a work in progress. I'm going to have to catch myself when I start to fall back into that. But I have started the change, and it's a necessary change. So I did want to talk a little bit today. I've gotten some questions from some friends of mine about my work situation. And like I mentioned before, I started the bookkeeping business. It's going well. I'm learning new skills all the time, so that's great. I've also mentioned that I'm working really hard at fitting work into my life and not the other way around. That's really important to me at this phase in my life and as I redesign my next chapter. I'm going to be doing some videos in the future about kind of how I grow my community and how I spend my time and my passions, and I'm exploring different types of things that I've wanted to for quite a while. Okay, so going from burnout to bring it on, I wanted to talk about a couple of things that I have really put some thought into about this transition period and some things that I've noticed. So working from home, of course, is great for me. I know not everybody likes the home environment and they like to be in more of a social situation at work and you know, a definite division between work and home, and they don't like to mix the two at home. But I like it. It's a very comfortable environment for me, and it's quiet and I can hyper focus without a lot of distractions. So it works really well for me. One of the things I noticed doing this type of work, whereas in the office with a team, is I don't feel the need to prove myself over and over again. In the past, every day was a new day. Every day was a day to prove yourself and to go beyond, and it didn't matter what you did yesterday or the day before, it's what you were going to do today. Big difference now is I don't really prove myself. Once in a while, if somebody asks me a question, then I'm expected to kind of know the answer. But if I don't, I Google it and figure it out. And so it's really easy that way that I'm not feeling that pressure or that stress to prove myself. Another thing that I wanted to mention was I am purposely designing my new chapter so that I can bring my work anywhere. In fact, in a few weeks, I'm going to be traveling to Mexico. It's a spot that I really love, and I'm going to take my work with me. I am purposely going at a time in the month that is a little lighter on work, because this is my trial period to try it out and see how it works and see what maybe some glitches that I hadn't thought about. So we're really going to be testing it out and trying it out and see. But I envision myself working for a few hours where I am staying, and then being able to take the rest of the day to go out and explore, get together with people, have meals, that kind of thing. So I'm really excited to see how it works. I'm taking my laptop with me. I am going to be getting in a VPN just to make sure that I have access to the things that I need. And I'll let you know how it goes. I'm really excited. And last thing that I wanted to bring up, and I'll probably maybe do a whole video on this, is the question about, while I'm in this new phase, I'm doing new work, right? Earning less money. How do I define success? So as I move through, how am I defining success in this transition? The plan was for me to make enough money to live comfortably and to not dip into any retirement savings before I turn retirement age. So yes, I would answer that as, okay, I am being successful. I am on the road. I've made great progress. It was a big question mark at first. Can I do this? Will this work? Am I going to regret anything? And so far, no. This is working out just fine. I can also look at success as, is my lifestyle healthier now? Have I lost the stress? Am I able to sleep well? Am I eating better? And I can say yes, definitely, to all of those things. The first 2 weeks after I stopped going to the office to work, I must have slept like 10 hours a night. I was so exhausted down to my bones that it took a good 2 weeks to finally catch up on sleep and feel a little normal again. And I can say without a doubt, one of the best things is going to bed at night without worrying about getting up in the morning and rushing around, getting ready for work at some ungodly hour, like 5 a.m. My alarm would go off at 5 a.m. That is not normal waking hour for me. I'm a 6 to 6:30 person. I go to bed fairly early, but 5 was just not good for me. And so pulling yourself up out of bed morning after morning, it's exhausting. I know a lot of you feel that. And I know a lot of people just have to do it, and they do it, and I did it for many years. But I wake up now without an alarm clock, and it just feels good. Just feels good to go to bed, just to sleep and not thinking about, oh my gosh, I got to get up in the morning. I've got all this stuff to do. And I don't have that anymore. I don't have that. I'll talk about success a little more probably in future videos, but for now, that's about it. Don't forget to leave a comment about what you might want to see in future videos. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.